For most big companies out there, Java is the engine running everything important. But that rock-solid foundation has turned into this complex and super expensive maze for IT leaders. Figuring out how to navigate this maze, well, that's one of the biggest challenges, and honestly, one of the biggest opportunities in tech today.
So let me ask you, does your Java support bill feel like it's just spiraling out of control? Yeah, you're not imagining it. A recent shift in the landscape has sent some serious shockwaves through enterprise budgets everywhere.
Okay, so this is the number that's literally keeping CIOs up at night. After Oracle's 2023 licensing change, a lot of companies saw their support costs jump by 2, 3, even 5 times. Look, this isn't just a small price hike. We're talking about a fundamental shift in the economics of your business.
And hey, if you're feeling this pain, you are definitely not alone. A staggering 82% of enterprises are right there with you. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what happened, uncover some of the hidden risks that go way beyond the price tag, and most importantly, lay out a clear strategy to get you back in the driver's seat. All right, so let's dig in. The problem really kicks off with the cost, right? But believe me, it's about so much more than just a license fee. This is a strategic shift that's forcing companies to rethink their entire approach to Java. You could feel the pressure starting to build back in 2019, but the real earthquake, that hit in 2023. That's when the whole game changed. The licensing model flipped from paying per user to paying based on your entire company's headcount. With more aggressive tactics expected, the hunt for a better way is, well, it's not just a good idea anymore, it's urgent. And this really highlights a huge difference in philosophy. Think about it. With Oracle, you're paying for every single employee, HR, sales, you name it, just to get support for your tech. Now contrast that with the IBM model, where you only pay for the servers and desktops that actually need the support. It's a shift from a blanket fee to a precise, usage-based model that just makes sense.
So what does this actually mean for your bottom line? What's the real-world impact? Well, it means that by switching to a model that's based on what you actually use, companies are seeing savings between 50 and 80% on their Java support costs. I mean, that's not just a nice to have, that's an absolute game changer. But like I said, cost is only one piece of the puzzle. The real danger, the thing that can quietly sink you, is technical debt. It's the hidden risk of just staying put, and it can be way more damaging than any support bill.
So what exactly is technical debt? It's a term we hear a lot. Well, think of it as all the invisible work you owe your systems because of shortcuts you took in the past. It's all that time your developers are wasting just keeping the lights on with old systems instead of building what's next. It just quietly sucks the life out of your resources and kills your ability to innovate.
And trust me, this is not some abstract academic problem. Technical debt is costing the US economy something like $2.41 trillion every single year. That comes from operational failures, security issues, and failed projects, all symptoms of trying to build on aging foundations.
When you look at a typical company, the scale of this challenge is just mind-boggling. You've got over 600 apps on old Java, and maybe 70% of them need an upgrade. Without automation, you're looking at 700 hours per app. You add it all up, we're talking about 147 person-years of work. That's not a hill to climb. That's an impossible mountain if you try to do it by hand. So, how on earth do you change that math? How do you make that mountain climbable? Well, with the right automation and tooling, you can shrink that massive effort by up to 75%. Suddenly, that impossible mountain, it becomes a totally manageable project.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do we actually do this? Well, IBM has a really clear, structured playbook that turns this whole messy problem into a clear path forward. The strategy itself is actually pretty simple. It breaks down into 3 parts. First, you maintain the apps you have to keep, but you do it securely and without breaking the bank. Second, you modernize the critical stuff, upgrading it to Java 17 and beyond without blowing up your operations. And third, you start to build brand new cloud-native apps for the future. It's a complete lifecycle approach that just works. And the engine that powers this whole strategy is something called IBM Enterprise Application Runtimes, or EAR for short. Think of it as one subscription that gives you everything you need to get this done, a flexible mix of runtimes, powerful modernization tools built right in, and a model that's designed for freedom, not to lock you in with one vendor. All right, now let's pop the hood and look at the actual automated toolkit inside EAR.
These are the tools that really solve the biggest headaches of modernization. First up is something called the Modernized Runtime Extension or more. And this thing is the key to modernizing without creating total chaos. What it does is pretty amazing. It lets you run your shiny new Java 17 apps right alongside your old reliable Java 8 apps in the exact same environment. You get to innovate without disrupting the stuff that's already working.
Okay, next up is the Application Modernization Accelerator, or AMA. The best way to think about this is like an automated roadmap for your entire system. It goes out and discovers everything you have. Then it visualizes it all so you can see how everything is connected. From there, it generates a tailored plan to migrate and then helps you generate the configs and actually migrate everything with intelligent guidance. It's the whole process, simplified.
So, what's the actual impact of having this kind of automation? Well, AMA can slash the manual effort needed for modernization by up to 75%. Remember that 147-year problem we talked about? This is how you solve it. This is how you actually get it done. So, when you put it all together, what's the real payoff? We're talking about tangible results that fix today's problems while setting you up for a much smarter, more agile future.
The impact on the business is just crystal clear. Yeah, you get the huge savings on support and you cut down the modernization work, but beyond that, you see these incredible improvements in just how well things run. Your teams can deploy code 70% faster, you use your servers 50% more efficiently. This isn't just about saving money anymore. It's about becoming a faster, leaner organization.
And look, this isn't just some theory on a slide. I love this quote from Sean Haysaw at Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina. He said, "We're consuming 50% fewer resources to do the same amount of work." He said the gains were so shocking, his team literally thought their tests were broken. They had to run them again just to believe the data was real. That's real-world impact.
At the end of the day, this all comes down to choosing the right partner for the journey. IBM has been a leader in enterprise Java forever, and they're deeply committed to open source innovation. Their model is all about flexibility, not locking you in. And maybe most importantly, all of this is built to get you ready for what's next, for AI, for cloud-native applications. It's a move that doesn't just fix today, it secures your future. So that really just leaves us with one final crucial question. Right now, your Java estate, it might feel like this huge, expensive liability that's just weighing you down. But what we've seen is that with the right strategy and the right tools, you can transform it into your next great asset, a modern platform that actually fuels growth. Really, the choice is yours.